Hello and welcome to Sound Heal Podcast. I'm your host, Natalie Brown, and thank you so much for joining me as we continue to explore the fields of sound healing, sound therapy, and generally the use of sound for health and wellness. Today, our guest is Joey McCune of Sound Healing Tulum, and we get to hear about Joey's career and getting into using sound for herself and her own spirituality, but then also the wish, the dream, and then discovery of a place that her and her husband Mitch could create an oasis in the jungle of Tulum, Mexico. And what they have created is spectacular. The story is just amazing of the sound temple they created there, and then actually discovering that a cave that on the property they could turn into a water temple, and all the work that they put into it, and now these beautiful ceremonies that they're able to offer there in the jungles of Tulum. So really a fascinating story and journey, and so many exciting developments happening for them currently as well. So I really hope you enjoy this adventure, this episode with Joey McCune. This podcast is sponsored by the Om Shop and Spa, located in Sarasota, Florida, but also on the web at theomshop.com. The Om Shop is the country's largest showroom of vibrational tools, everything from crystal bowls and alchemy bowls, Himalayan bowls, gongs, to a lot of specialty, custom, and unique instruments as well. They also have trainings and workshops, and you can see all the resources they have on their website. If you're ever able to make it there in person, they also have a luxury spa. So please check out the Om Shop. And thank you so much for their support and sponsorship of this podcast. Please enjoy this episode with Joey McCune. Well, thanks, Joey, so much for joining us for this podcast. It's great to have you here. Thank you.
I'm honored. So thank you.
Yeah. So where I want to start is just to get to know a little bit about you and your story and everything that led to this amazing work that you're doing now. So could you tell us a little bit about your background and those things that you feel were influential on this path that you're on?
Yeah, I mean, that's a loaded question because there's so many angles of that I could answer, of course. I think we should start with sound bowls maybe a little bit. Gosh, I don't even know how many years it's been now. 17, 18 years ago, I was gifted in Nepal, like a Tibetan sound bowl. And I thought it was really beautiful. And I started doing some research into sound healing and how it's done in Nepal and Tibet. And so I ordered myself a set of sound bowls, and I just really loved them and had them around the house, but it wasn't calling my heart. You know, it was beautiful. And I saw how they worked and I really liked it. It wasn't a huge thing yet. Sound baths weren't really a trending, thing that was happening anywhere yet. And so I started working on my husband and my children at the time, and then friends would come over, and I was tuned into this frequency and this vibration, but I wasn't called to really do much more with it at that moment. So in my life in Seattle, so my husband and I are from Seattle, Washington. I'm a real estate agent. I own a real estate company, real estate firm here. I wear a lot of hats. I do staging of homes, design of homes. My husband's a design build contractor, so we were flipping homes a lot. And we made our money in real estate, basically, in investments. And so at that point, I was doing, the sound healing stuff on the side, and I was just using the Tibetan bowls. And then someone told me about crystal bowls. And I thought, I had been collecting crystals my whole entire life. And I thought, crystal bowls, what's this amazing thing that I'm hearing about? So, computers were like relatively new. There wasn't really a website to go to find, things about sound bowls at that time. And I ended up finding a company called Crystal Tones, which was sort of the first. They were the first, I'm sure you know about this. They were one of the first, trend setting innovative companies out there with sound bowls. And so I ordered the white bowls because they didn't have alchemy bowls yet. And I decided I was just going to order a whole set. So sure enough, this entire set shows up in boxes. Back then they were enormous bowls. You can't even get these gorgeous big bowls anymore. I mean, I wish I could, because mine have broken over the years, but these bowls show up, and I'm thinking, what do I even do with these? Right. And my husband comes home from work, and there's 7. I bought the chakra set, laying around the living room. And I said, just lay on the couch. I have this idea, and I'm playing the bowls, and he just falls asleep. And it was this beautiful, magical hour-long sound bath. And that was when it clicked with me. This is what you do with these bowls, right? It was this calling to me. It was this vibrational calling to me. And once I hit that first sound bowl and tapped it, there was a remembrance in me that came out, and it was like a cellular change. And from that time forward, I just started giving sound baths to friends, and then it grew into a company. It grew into a big business. And, we'll move forward in this conversation, I'm sure, but I was then, after several years, called to be in deeper service and step away from my life in the fast lane in Seattle. And so I looked at my husband one morning and said, I channeled last night, we're supposed to go and build a sound temple. And, usually a husband would say, you're crazy. We have a kid in college. The other one's out of college. We have a life here and 2 businesses that we own. And he said, okay. And so we listed everything and sold it and traveled around and found an amazing space and built a sound temple. And here we are. So,
Wow.
yeah, I mean, it was a calling for sure. I felt that I need to follow the universe in what has unfolded into a really big journey that is unexpected. So I think this has been a big lesson in trust. And sound bowls were my gateway drug. Okay. They were the doorway that I stepped through that led me to this ongoing journey that's taken me so much farther. So I have great reverence for these bowls and for the journey they've taken me on, and what I've been allowed to do to others. Because now that we have a space where we have a sound temple and a water temple, both built for sound, both, I guess, curated for sound. I should say that the water temple is 65 million years old, so I did not build that necessarily. But the space is so incredible acoustically, it's perfect for the sound bowls and for any kind of frequency and vibrational journey that we're on. And so, with these 2 spaces, I feel we have helped. I mean, I'm not kidding. Thousands of people have come to us, and that in itself just feels like the most amazing gift that I've ever been given in my life. And so,
Truly, yeah.
that's it's our journey just keeps going, obviously, with all of us. But
Wow, that's
it's been
beautiful.
nice unfolding.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds like really that maybe initially you kind of came to the sound bowls for your own, you were juggling a lot and just trying to navigate life and stress and all that. So initially it was kind of a personal journey, but then you realized, oh, I can share this with more and more people. And I guess my question is, how did that spark happen? Why Tulum? Why build this place, this paradise in the jungle? Like, how did that happen?
Yeah,
Before we kind of unpack what it is now, but how did you decide to build in the jungle?
I know, everything's so organic. It literally just doors kept opening. I mean, I should back up with, when I first had my first sound bowl, I realized what it was doing for me and my anxiety. I have high anxiety. I'm a really busy person. I live a fast-paced life, always have. Even in my beautiful 5D environment in Tulum, I'm still going, like the Energizer Bunny. And sound healing, just weaving all the sound and doing it for others, has just really calmed me and put me into a space of a really special space that I tapped into and now never want to leave. And so obviously, as you know, when you're giving a sound bath and you're bathing someone in these frequencies, it's just equally beautiful for you because you're receiving as you're giving. And that was just such a beautiful, expansive realization for me that I knew I wanted to do more and more and more. And, life was hectic for us. And we were what most people would say had the perfect life, in the sense that, we had our retirement, we had our investment properties, we had, kids out of college, we're empty nesters all of a sudden, and, you know, didn't need to worry about things, and retirement was, you know, on the horizon. But we decided to just say, this isn't what we're called to do right now. So we stepped into wanting to build a sound temple. I lead spiritual retreats and pilgrimages through ancient Egypt, and there's one of the oldest sound temples there, Saqqara Pyramid and Temple. So, you know, it's always made me think that I wanted to have a sound temple someday. And there is a place in Seattle, the Seattle Sound Temple. Irene is a beautiful human that runs that. And I'd gone to sound baths there. I noticed that there were a couple of other sound temples built, you know, small like yoga retreat spaces, but they call them a sound temple because they're working as a temple, and they're working, you know, bathing in sound, you know, all of their guests that are coming. So I wanted to take it to the next level and really build something incredible. That was a more of a destination place where I am solely people are coming to me and my husband to us to experience something really special and different. We wanted to curate something like that. So, you know, it was kind of a wild idea. Like, who knows if it's going to work? And we traveled all over the place, and we ended up, you know, Mexico is the largest consideration because of its proximity to the US. And, you know, we have grown kids. Someday they're going to be married and have grandchildren, and we want to be near them. So, you know, it just made the most sense to be an expat in Mexico. And then we traveled all over Mexico, and oh my God, there's all these amazing places, but are they easy to get to? And will people want to come there? You know, you have to look at the business side of things as well. And Tulum is a vortex. I mean, there's a lot positive and a lot negative about Tulum, and a lot of people will tell you that. But I found that even in the darkness, you need to bring the light, right? So, you know, we looked around and we realized that in town wasn't going to be an ideal location for us because it's loud and busy. And, you know, we're both people who wanted some peace. And so to present this sort of peaceful setting, we knew we had to look outside of the norm. And we just randomly fell in love with a piece of property in the jungle that had a cave on it, obviously a 65 million year old cave. And there's a story to that. I mean, are you aware of what the cenotes and the cave system is in Tulum?
I think you should definitely describe that
Yeah.
for us. Yeah.
So basically, when the meteor hit the earth, creating the ice age, when the dinosaurs went extinct, that meteor hit the Tulum area in the Yucatan Peninsula. And when that hit, it created the whole ice age and everything, but it created a vortex of energy, which is why the Mayans and, you know, it is a belief system that there's this vortex of healing energy there. Plus, we're located within this Mayan area of the ancient Mayans and all of their healing practices. So it's this beautiful place that people come for healing, sort of the Sedona of Mexico, so to speak. And when that meteor hit, it broke into thousands of pieces all over the peninsula. And each of those pieces hit, creating a sinkhole. And those sinkholes became the cenotes and the caves. So sometimes the piece would hit and then it would fold in on itself and create caves. So there's thousands and thousands of caves and cenotes in the Yucatan Peninsula. Now, to own one is a really special situation. And we knew that there was an old cave on our property. It was hard to get to. There was no path to it, really. It was dirty. We'd been told jaguars had babies in there and cubs, and, you know, to be careful when we were down there, but it was dry. And so there was no cenote there. It was a one that had folded in on itself. And so we didn't think much about it, but we loved the peace of the jungle. We loved just the sounds of the birds and the crickets and the monkeys and, you know, just the wildlife. And we thought, you know, if you build it, they will come. So let's just start here. And so we started with a sound temple that my husband built me. Keep in mind, my husband is a design build architect. So he created this beautiful glass encased sound temple that holds the harmonies and the resonance of the sound bowls and the planetary gongs. So we really created a beautiful space, and we tied into Christ consciousness. We tied into the crystalline grid. We have crystals that are planted all around in the base, the foundation, and in the roof. It's a really, really special sound temple. And the sound is just incredible when the bowls get going. So that was really all we thought we were going to be doing. And after we built that, COVID happened. And we're like, oh my gosh, we just started this. Now I've listened to the universe and all these doors have opened. We randomly found this property, and I'm thinking to me, you know, like, oh my God, come on, spirit, like we just sunk our money into this and built this, and now the world's shut down. But what I didn't realize is that, and I came quickly to realize, is that we were told and guided to do this so that we would be set up for this incredible time that we're in right now, where people are searching out spirituality and a connection and a reconnection to consciousness and a remembrance to everything that's happening right now. And so we built this and people started coming. I mean, we went from 0 people on Instagram, 0 followers, no one knowing who we are other than a few people in Seattle, from my old business, but they're not, coming to Tulum necessarily, and blossomed it into this beautiful, expansive business for sound healing. It's really, truly a destination that people were coming to. And so at the very beginning of COVID, my husband's mother died. She unfortunately had dementia and got just really, it had expanded pretty badly, and she ended up dying. And Mitch was quite upset. So he went down to the cave to start meditating down there. And during this time in the cave, a bird was flying through, and it's called a toe bird. And the toe is a really mystical bird, but a real bird, but it has a beautiful mystical story to it in the Mayan tradition. And it only lives where cenotes are in the water. And so we have this massive cave that's dark, and these birds are driving him crazy, flying around, until finally he's led to the back of the cave and he sees this puddle that's about this big. And he looks down with his light of the phone, and he sees a fish go by. And once he saw that, he was like, oh my gosh, we're connected to the underground river system. So the cenotes are in Tulum are connected to the largest underground river system in the world. And so there's divers that come from all over. It goes all the way out to the ocean. It's a whole, roadway underneath the Yucatan. It's incredible. And so basically, he said, I'm going to start digging. I need to heal. This is a process for me to heal through my, what's happening to me right now. My heart hurts. And so he went down there, and, we live off grid. We don't, and this is limestone. This isn't like you just take a shovel and start digging with mud. This is limestone, and the world's shut down for the most part. And so he gets a few Mayan men. I think there were like 5 of them all together, and he doesn't speak Mayan. And he says, I'm going to lead by example, follow me. And he started digging. They got some underwater some jackhammers. Again, we're off grid, so we can't plug in for power. We use our solar energy for everything. And so he had to be really creative. They used ropes and chains and pulley systems to try to pull out big rocks. And he opened it up until this beautiful water appeared. And for a while, we thought maybe we had a mud puddle, because a true cenote has to have an inflow and an outflow for the water to be clear. Otherwise, you just are filling up and it's muddy, right? You have to have that flow for life to come through. Also the fish, the turtles, all of that. And so he was building and digging. And for a while we thought, oh dear, maybe we made a mess. And then one morning he comes running up at 6 a.m, and he's like, you're not going to believe this. And it was just turquoise, beautiful water, and flowing through, and a little fish. We get fish in there now. And I mean, it's a new area for them, right? So they're learning to come in and to their new ecosystem. But we have this beautiful, beautiful cenote. And I said, what are we going to do with this? We have to do something. We have to share this. We've been gifted this beautiful gift. So since we have people coming to the sound temple, this is a water temple. This is a beautiful space to reconnect with Mother Earth, with Gaia, to feel into this beautiful energy that's in here. And it is, you walk in, people start crying immediately when they walk in, because you feel the impact, that you feel the vortex. It's insanely beautiful. So we decided that would be a place that we would curate experiences for people to come and really be bathed in sound and frequency there as well. So anyway, long answer, my apologies, but it's a lot to try to figure out how to explain, how this whole process happened. But I would say the property found us. We must have looked at 100 houses. I'm not kidding. We're really not satisfied, kept leaving Tulum, looking in other places. Something kept drawing us back. And we rented a house in the jungle, and we ended up buying it. So it wasn't for sale.
Wow.
We just said we can do something with this. We like the people feeling out here. So,
and I don't want to pass by how much work that must have been. I'm sure people are going to see pictures, or obviously go there and see the sound temple with the glass with the jungle all around, and then the cave with polished, the polished and the terraces, right? That was all, of course, without electricity, just kind of tapping into
Yeah,
hard work. So let's just give a hand for all the hard work that went into that. That's amazing.
and it's all my husband. I mean, he
Yeah.
actually said to me a couple nights ago, he said, I I don't know if you realize this. He said this to me, and I do realize this, but he said that cenote was my healing path. That healed my heart. That all of the work that went into that was my process of mourning my mother and the loss. Unfortunately, we were in Mexico and we had to move her into hospice. We had no idea she just took a turn like this. We think possibly she had COVID, but we don't know for sure. So we had to put her in a home that would allow to assist her. And we were in Mexico. So there was, we were doing this from the phone, and plus they wouldn't let us come anyway. And they said, okay, well, we're putting her in hospice now. And Mitch said, well, I'm going to buy a ticket to come down right now. I'll be there, later tonight. And the flights were not, you could get on one flight a day. And he was you're going to be the only one on the plane kind of situation because it was lockdown. And they said, you have plenty of time. It should take, it's going to take a while, but of course, come as soon as you can. And then they called us an hour later and said, she's going right now. So we had to sit there on FaceTime, and this transition happened like this. So it was pretty traumatic for a son to have to deal with that. So this is a gift that he gave his mother, he gave himself, he gave me, he gave humanity, because now we are sharing it with everybody. So truly, the cenote is so much more than just a beautiful water temple. It's also has so much love behind all of that hard work. So I think that's always really important to point out, for sure.
That's amazing. Yeah, that gave me goosebumps. Wow. So yeah, let's talk about what you are sharing there. I know you do solo work. I know you do collaborations. So what does it look like so far? What are you offering there? And what are people experiencing?
Yeah, it's ever expanding. So keep that in mind. At the moment, it started out with just me in the sound temple. And I wanted to have something that made people want to come. So not only is it glass encased and set in the jungle, and then it all opens up to the outside. So you hear the sounds of the birds and the monkeys and crickets at night if we have night ceremonies, and which is just a beautiful symphony to tie into the bowls and the gongs and everything. But I have white silk hammocks that my guests suspend and hang in. And it sort of wraps you up like you're in a cocoon or a womb, and feels like a rebirth when you're done. As I bring you out of it, you get to, some people just lay in savasana for another half hour because they're just so moved by it and have a hard time, just making that step out of that womb, because it's truly feels like a rebirth. So the sound temple is a really beautiful experience. And that's what I intended. That's all I ever intended when we went there. And let me tell you that everything's private. So whoever calls, if it's a couple or if it's a group or a retreat that's coming to us, we book it specifically for that private group. So we don't do one-on-one so much anymore, just because we have a 2-person minimum. Sometimes we have people come and they pay for 2 people, even though it's 1, but most people come as a couple because they're traveling there, or bring a friend or something. Or we get a lot of retreats that have us as one of their days and they want to come spend a full day there or something. So, so we do, private curated experiences for whoever calls me. So I actually talk to you and say, okay, what is it you're looking for? Obviously, what we offer are sound healing experiences. We also do a cacao ceremony, though, that's really incredible. You can get a cacao ceremony at the beach. You can do it at the hotels, but this is like a whole other level. It's like a next level up. Beautiful, incredible master of ceremonies that comes, and it's super authentic and really special. And we do that in the cave and cenote as well, but it also includes some music and things like that. So a lot of people add that on to their sound bath experience. So we have a sound temple, and then we also offer the water temple, which is the cave and the cenote. And there we have a mixture. We have multiple sound shaman and medicine musicians that are incredible. This is a great group of human beings, and they're all authentic shaman and musicians. And so it's a mixture of true musicians and shaman that know how to weave the music together. When I first hired them, we were finding people individually. They weren't understanding what a sound bath is because they're coming from a different perspective. So there was a little bit of training, but now it is dialed in. And honestly, it is one of the most special experiences that you can ever have. People just are floored. I've never had someone come that didn't say it was the most incredible experience. So it's hard to describe what it is, but there's multiple, we must have 50, 60 instruments, from harps to sound bowls to flutes and drums and hand pans and didgeridoos, like all of it, right? It's never ending. Every single client, doesn't matter if we have 30 or 20 or 2, they're getting personal attention. So the more people that book, the more musicians and sound shaman we have. And again, these are medicine musicians. So they are, I don't know if you know what a medicine musician is, but in the shamanic world, when you're under a medicine ceremony with plant medicine, they are helping to weave the music to keep you on a certain frequency and help sort of put you in a trance. So this entire experience is like you don't have to have plant medicine. You can go into this space without it. Now, do we offer plant medicine? Sometimes we have some mushroom ceremonies. Some people want to enhance it with a microdose or something like that. We curate some experiences that way, and that's incredibly beautiful also. In fact, here I put this entire experience together, and I always go through the experience before I sell it to the public. However, I was doing a bunch of mushroom journeys and leading them for a while, and we were doing like the high dose ones, and it was getting really, really popular, but I didn't want to be known for that. So I started backing off, and people call and they're like, wow, we want to do a microdose in this incredible womb of the earth. We want to be there and experience this. And I'm like, oh, I don't know if that's really what I want to be known for. But long story short is I finally did it myself. And I was so blown away because I felt like codes were coming in. I mean, it was like codes on codes on codes. It's incredible. You mix it with the sound bath experience, and in the setting of this incredible cave next to water, which is life. And these primordial waters are the Mayans believe are the entrance to the underworld, which is their heaven. So I mean, this is a very powerful portal to be doing these things in. And now I'm just like, I mean, obviously this is a special situation we have to offer once in a while, but for the most part, we do sound journeys. And that is what our focus is. And no matter what it is, we're weaving sound and frequency, and we are bathing our guests in that. So as you do in your sound baths. I think the beautiful thing about sound healing is, being a sound practitioner, I don't like to call myself a sound healer. Actually, I am a sound weaver. I weave sound, and I do it in different ways, and I help guide in different ways. And I think we're all of us that are called to do this are so special because we all come with different, different gifts that we're sharing. And, it's really fun. Like, I have zero competition in this because we all do it so differently and present it so differently. And just, it just depends on who's called to participate. And it's always lovely. I mean, you rarely go to a sound bath that isn't, an incredible experience. So
Absolutely. Yeah, you're right. I mean, everyone that's in this field is so unique. They have their own approach and their own gifts. And absolutely, I haven't found competition either, with the thousands of practitioners I've collaborated with or taught or worked with. So it's a beautiful field. And that kind of brings me to how it's blossoming so much right now, right? You talked about 15, 17, 18 years ago, you were working with the bowls for the first time. What have you noticed happening with more and more people coming into this field, or more and more people wanting this experience? Why do you think that's really ramping up right now? Why is it so needed right now?
I think our world is going through a shift of consciousness, obviously, right? We know this, but I think more and more people are being called to awaken. And as they're in their awakening journey, they're called to do certain things. I think sound healing is a gentle way for people to put their foot in the water, right? Because there's no plant medicine, there's no major scary thing to it. It's just come in and relax, reset, reconnect, start to have your third eye open, whatever it is that's going to happen to you in your sound journey. Maybe some people are coming in, they're just getting agitated because they need to work through things before they get to that space, right? I mean, gongs can do that to you for sure. So it just depends on where you are in your life. But I think so many people are being called to awaken right now and have that reconnection, that it's a gentle way for them to, to step through the door of that. But also there's been so much science now, and we have Instagram, we have social media, we have this science that's been put online with, Dr. Emoto with his, proving that water, how much water is in our body, right? And that, with the intent behind it, and taking photos of water droplets that you are consciously saying, I love you, or I hate you, and seeing what that looks like under a microscope, shows that on a cellular level, sound and vibration and frequency and intent is changing your DNA. So that's, that's now widespread news that's out there. Then you have the next level of, there's a woman, I think she's out of Australia, and I'm forgetting her name right now, but I just started reading about her. She's amazing. She has proven that you can show a photo, say, of Jesus to some water, and then take the water and put it in the freezer, and it'll come out with a picture of Jesus on it. Or you can show them like a picture of a flower, and it's this whole thing. I will send you the Instagram, because you'll be amazed. It's really incredible. But there's all these studies coming out showing what water is how it's transforming on a cellular level, and how powerful that can be. Here I'm drinking water right now with a crystal wand that charges and basically structures my water. It's everywhere, and our bodies are made up of water. So there's that. But I just think that you have rappers and pop singers now adding singing bowls into their mix of music. So it's becoming a trend-setting thing. It's just like 15, 20 years ago, you couldn't go into a store and ask about new age stuff. There'd be 5 books on a shelf, or maybe 2 shelves, and people think you're one of those weirdos. Nowadays, it's like there's an entire section. Sometimes it's the majority of the store. There are stores specifically for metaphysical and conscious, with conscious intent. And it's just a normal thing to be getting my hair done and talking about how I'm in 5D in the jungle and I'm in 3D in Seattle, and people aren't as blown away by it and thinking that you're so nuts anymore. So I think there's a complete shift happening. And there's so many answers to this, right? There's just so many different ways that things are shifting right now. I just think sound healing's in the birth of that, because it's a gentle way. It's a gentle road, right?
Yeah, that's right. It's such a, if you just think about music in general, it's such a relevant, some of the modalities are a little bit harder for people to grasp, but music and how it affects you and how it changes your mood and things like that, I think is an easy way in for people. Well, and because of this like trend and this booming thing happening in the field right now, I imagine what's happening for your business in Tulum is like crescendoing. So what's coming up next? How are things coming forth? What are you dreaming up next for? What's happening there?
Wow. Well, originally we thought it would just be the sound temple, which then morphed into the water temple. So now we have had a lot of rules on our property, because it's our home. And so we invite the public to come to our home and then experience this beautiful journey that they're on during the day when they're there visiting us. And sometimes that's big groups and sometimes it's couples, right? So it is our home. And so we have some rules, and a lot of people say, oh, we want to come there and, can we rent it for a party? No, we don't allow alcohol. We don't allow, we want to keep the vibration, the frequency pure. And we want the intent to always be around, a soul evolving and expanding sort of thing. So I'm tapped into, how do I say this? I have a lot of TV shows and reality shows and Netflix and documentaries, and they call because they're blown away by the space and they want to come and film there. And so we have turned down more than half of the inquiries, which is great money. And when we are living, we left our life of making the money that we used to make, and we are trying to, create a life and slow down and work, with humanity in a different way. So we've taken an adjustment. So to turn down some of those big dollar items is a big deal, but to us, it's just the choice that we've made. And so when we do allow some of that filming to happen, It always has to be, we don't want to be told how it's going to be. We don't want it to be scripted. We want it to be about love and be about sound healing. And so we've been really fortunate. We've been on a lot of shows that have changed their rules. Like The Bachelor was filmed there. And I said, I'm not doing this. There's no alcohol allowed. If you want to come and have your date there, it has to be really, truly a sound healing session that you're going to be filming. And I want them to wear white, just like everyone else does. This is a sacred journey I'm going to take them on. So, we have that sort of thing. They had their date in the cave, and they had it all set up, and we did allow that, but it was all about, we made sure that that the intent for everything was really pure. And it's hard with TV. We have had documentaries filmed there, but it's been all about consciousness. We've had, we had the housewives of Mexico City come. And what's so funny is I said, oh my God, these ladies, they fight like crazy. And, I don't know if this is really truly what we want to do here. And they said, no, we're coming to Tulum to heal their relationships because they're so toxic. And so I said, okay, you know what? I will take that, because if we can be on national TV and show sound healing as a way to be healing, whether they're being healed or not, they are a little bit, even whether they know it or not, whether it's just for TV or not, we're still sharing that frequency and vibration. So we had a lot of fun with that, and everyone was blown away and they loved it. But, is that typically who our client base is? No, but it was still fun to do it because it's getting out there, right? It's just another way, it's another avenue for it to be seen. So anyway, to answer your question, everything is morphed and expanded. We didn't know it would get to this point. And now we have so many people that love it so much. They always ask, can we stay with you at your house? And we have done it a little bit and done some private, small retreats there, but we realized that we can really serve people in a more beautiful way. So we are, right now I'm in Seattle, Washington. I came back to Seattle with my husband. I've been in Mexico the majority of the time, but I come back and forth. My husband is here. He opened up a new company since we sold our companies prior. And he is basically renovating a beautiful old, because we have a huge project. We're renovating some real estate, and then we're about ready to sell it, and we're taking that money and we're coming back and building a small hotel on our property in the jungle, so that we can really curate special healing experiences that are going to be like, if you called me, I would be able to say, what is it you're looking for? Are you looking for peace and quiet, serenity? Are you looking for some healing? Do you have trauma that you're working on? Do you, what are you looking for this few days that you're coming to stay with us? And then I will specially curate a program for every single person that comes. And so it doesn't have to be a retreat with a bunch of other people. It can be alone. So we're going to have a retreat space for people who want to host retreats. And then we're going to have private individual villas or rooms for people to come and stay on property and really soak up this beautiful energy. Because honestly, we have house guests. We have people that come and they say, I'll say, let's go into town and have dinner. And they're like, why? We just want to stay here. We don't want to leave. So I think that it'll be a really beautiful experience for people to come and live in the jungle and feel what we get to share all the time. And it's just a really peaceful, beautiful space to heal. And it's with our hearts, we're going to be really authentic with what we offer to people and try to make it really special so that everyone feels very VIP. So that's our goal. We're getting close. It's been a long few years.
Yeah, it sounds like you're nearly there, though. That's so exciting. But of course, then there's, the challenges of building, or is it already, the project of it being built already started?
No, we bought some more land, and we have kind of the basics being put in right now, because we have more infrastructure needed, more solar, more generators, more water towers and cisterns and things like that. So we're in the process of starting all of that and getting permits, and then we should be lined up and ready to go. It'll be go time as soon as we sell here. Of course, the economy has shifted in America, which has not been a wonderful timing for us, but we have faith that it's going to work out. And luckily, Seattle has sort of a special local economy that's not, it's a little bit different than the US as a whole. So and I'm a real estate agent. So, so I'm just we're trying to time it just right where it'll still be impactful. But we've taken a loss for sure as far as what we originally thought, but it's all in divine timing. It will all align. So we're excited.
Well, that's right. Yeah. And you already have the core, you already have the heart of what it is, which is the sound temple and the water temple. So now you're just boosting it and, being able to expand your offerings for what you're doing there. So, wow, that's so exciting. Oh my gosh, that's
You
amazing.
have to come down so I can spoil you and
I
treat
know.
you.
I was just thinking that I really want to, I need to see this in person and experience it. Yeah, it's on my list for sure. Wow, amazing. Well, anything else you want to add? I mean, it's been really a beautiful exploration of not only you, but what you and your husband have put together, co-created there, as well as, medicine musicians and shamans and just the people that have helped work on the property too. It's like you're building a community there in the jungle as well. So
Oh, I am
amazing.
so glad. I'm so glad you just said that. I couldn't have done this alone. I mean, I have some incredibly talented people that work there. We have a staff of, I don't know, there's probably 14 to 20 different people at any given time. Because let's face it, when you are an expat and you live in the jungle and you live in a place like Tulum or Ibiza or wherever, your people come and go, right? Because they're gypsies. People come in, I'm going to live here for 6 months. I'm going to live here a year. Oh, I stayed 3. Okay, now I'm going to go off. So as much as I love all these humans, they're weaving in and out and they come back and then they leave again. So I would say we have, about 20 people, about 20 gifted humans at any given time. So when someone calls and says, I have 11 people that I'm bringing in for a sound journey, then I have to choose the 11 or choose the amount of musicians and shaman that are coming in to work with that group specifically for whatever the needs are. And, we've had to teach all of them to weave in and out. But my point is that they are all incredible. And I could not have done this or built it without them. I like to say that I mean, we do it together. I can't take any sole credit for that. So, beautiful humans, all the experiences are lovely and we are like family. And it's true what we've built there. I should say this, let me add this to this and then I'll be quiet because I know I talk so much, but, we have live-in workers that live with us and a lot of the houses have that there. And so we have this darling Mayan couple, Louis and Martha, who live with us. And they had zero idea when they just went to church on Sundays and, they did not know what they were getting into when they came to live with us. And Martha is now cleansing with the copal, going around singing in Mayan and blessing people. Louis is a master gardener. He cares for the cenote. He cares for our home. He is with so much love. These people are just, they give their entire heart when our guests come to join us. And I can't even tell you how their lives have been transformed. I gave them a sound bath. It's been a little while now, but I gave them a sound bath and Martha sent me a message. And keep in mind, my Spanish is terrible. So I speak Spanglish and they speak Mayan and Spanish. And so she sent me this she translated it into English and she said, now I know why I'm here, because I'm here to help serve humanity also. And I could not be in a better place than Casa Selva, which is our home. And I had angels talking to me during the sound bath. And I know that God wants me to be here. And he spoke to my heart. So what a beautiful, if that is not the best message you've ever heard from someone, that's just one of our staff members. And, it's a gift. And these people love what they're doing and they've been empowered. And now there's other workers that have come in and then they bring more that have come into other homes around us. And we have created a community out there and have given back. So as we're successful, so are all these other people and their lives are changed and their families' lives are changed. So that is such a beautiful reality of what's taking place. And I didn't even expect that. It just happened. And now I just am so empowered by it that Mitch and I make it a focus as part of what we're doing. But we also have the staff that are the musicians and the sound shaman, and they are incredible humans also. And they work they're there working their rear ends off in serving all of our guests every single day, and sometimes twice a day. So sometimes more. We might have a group of 20 at 11 a.m. and then a group of 20 at 3 p.m. Can you imagine? Like when we do a sound bath, we're exhausted. You're taking in all that energy and then you're sharing all this energy. And so this is just we're doing this 6 and sometimes 7 days a week. So it creates a frequency. Let me tell you, there is something happening that we are living in there all the time. I'm really fortunate it's our home because
oh my gosh, yeah. Well, that's what it's all about, right? And it's almost like uncovering that vortex, that kind of heart of the earth is having its ripple effects. It's just radiating beyond what you can even imagine, you know?
exactly.
So,
And that right there, sister, is the gift of all of it. That is truly the gift. So if I never do anything else in my life, that's the most touching part to me right
that's
there.
it. That's what it's all about. Oh, that's amazing. And just hearing it, hearing you describe it from an outside perspective, like I can feel it. I can feel it just hearing it from you and imagining it. So beautiful. Amazing, amazing, amazing. I'm so excited
I hope you come visit.
I will. I have to now. Oh my gosh. Thank you so much for describing it so well so people can get a feel for this dream that has come true for you and Mitch, but for everyone involved as well. Thank you for the beautiful work and for the vibes that are radiating out into the world, for all the people that you've helped and all the ones that don't even know they're going to be helped by it yet. It's pretty amazing.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thanks, Joey. Thank you. Thank you for tuning into this episode of Sounds Heal Podcast, sponsored by the Om Shop and Spa. You can keep up to date on what's coming up next at soundshealstudio.com, on Facebook at Sounds Heal Studio, Instagram, Natalie Brown, Sounds Heal, and you can watch previous episodes as well as listen to some sound meditations on the YouTube channel, Sounds Heal Studio. Be well and stay tuned.